here. So today I want to talk to you about some similarities that I find exist between science and spirituality. So I trained as a scientist and now I have a lot of interest in spirituality. So I want to share with you what some of the things that I found that are in common and what are some of the big differences. So one of the things is that they're both fundamentally their search for the truth. Good science and good spiritual practice is search for the truth. They're based on trying to understand how life works, what are the basic principles of life. And they're also quite practical. They're all geared towards making life easier, making life better, making life more livable, more enjoyable. So in that way, they are definitely there's a big similarity. And the second similarity that I found, big similarity that I found, is the fact that they're both evidence-based. Spirituality has to be experiential. You have to have the experience of it. You can't take somebody's words, somebody else's experience and take that as your own. So it has to be your own experience, what you've learned, how far you've traveled on this path. You can take other people's guidance. You can take other people's guidance as to where they've been, what they might have done, but the actual journey has to be your own. It has to, and there's similarities and differences in everybody's experience, but you have to follow your own experience. So it has to be evidence-based. Same with science. Science is you have an idea, you have a hypothesis, you devise some kind of a protocol, an experiment for testing it, and your conclusions are based on the results that you find. So you can't make it up. It has to be based. It's evidence based, and then you follow where it takes you, where the evidence takes you. And also for science, it has to be peer reviewed. Whereas spirituality, okay, there might be some spiritual masters that can tell where you are in your evolution, but for most of us, it's experience, it's inner experience, and you have to evaluate yourself. Science, you can get other people, but it has to be with science, has to be able to be replicated. Same as spirituality. It can't just be a one-off experience. It's got to be something. If something's true, it will need to happen again, for it to become fully embedded in your experience, in your physical and energetic kind of memory and structures. The third similarity is this aspect of evolution. Science is forever evolving. Yeah, for it to be practical, for it to be good, for it to be useful, science has to be evolving. But it's based on some kind of fundamental truths and some fundamental principles. Um, Same with spirituality. It has to be evolving. It has to be expanding. You can't go by somebody a few hundred years ago had an experience and that is the truth. You have to find your truth. You have to have your questions and get answers for them. So it's all very much about getting the questions, finding the right questions, and trying to deliver the right answers, trying to find the right answers for those questions. So in some ways, the questions are even more important than the answers you get, because the quality of your questions will determine the quality of the answers you get, the quality of your life. The other thing is, and that's same true um, true for science, but I don't see this. But I don't see the science and spirituality as being mutually exclusive. I see them as being part of the same energetic continuum, because spirituality, the way I study spirituality, the way I look at spirituality, is the story of life, of creation, of how life exists, how it evolves, how it the basic fundamental principles of life. And I think science is a study of the material aspects, material manifestations of those principles. So I do feel like it is all part of the same energetic continuum. And sort of in some ways, spirituality is science of the future. Spirituality is just what we don't physically understand yet. So it's not mutually exclusive. It's one and the same. And by studying spirituality, I feel like I am moving deeper into the path of that I started as a scientist. And so that is all I want to share today. So thank you for listening to me, and I will speak to you soon. Bye. Hope you have